Denis Villeneuve has confirmed that he doesn't want to make any more Dune movies after Dune 3, but he could be making the same mistake Christopher Nolan made with his Batman trilogy. With Dune, Part 2 earlier this year, Villeneuve completed his adaptation of Frank Herbert's original opus. Since it was a big enough box office hit to keep the Dune train going, Villeneuve has been fending questions about a third Dune film. He's often teased that he would follow up his two-part Dune adaptation with an adaptation of Herbert's first sequel, Dune Messiah. Villeneuve has lined up his next project at Warner Bros. With a release date of December 18, 2026. Since the details of the movie, even its title, are being kept under wraps, it's been rumored that this is Dune 3. Villeneuve has yet to confirm whether or not Dune 3 will be his next movie, but he has said that if and when he does get around to directing a Dune threequel, it'll be his last foray into the Dune-iverse. But that means that Villeneuve could face the same endless questioning Nolan has faced since ending the Dark Knight trilogy. Dune 3 will set up future movies that Denis Villeneuve doesn't want to make. Dune Messiah is just the tip of the iceberg. Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides under Hood in Dune, Part 2. Villeneuve has confirmed that Dune 3 will be his last Dune film. But, while Dune Messiah is being planned as the final chapter of Villeneuve's cinematic Dune trilogy, it's nowhere near the end of Herbert's Dune saga. Dune Messiah leads into Children of Dune, then God Emperor of Dune, then Heretics of Dune, then Chapterhouse, Dune. And after that, Herbert's son Brian Herbert and science fiction author Kevin J. Anderson teamed up to keep the series going with a trilogy of prequel novels that's come to be known as the Prelude to Dune series. Herbert and Anderson then continued the mainline series with Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune. These were expanded from a story outline that Herbert's father had written for a seventh installment in the Dune series, and they were intended to provide a definitive conclusion to the saga. They followed this up with the Heroes of Dune series and the Caladan trilogy. There's plenty of Dune material for Warner Bros. To draw from, and now that it has a new blockbuster property on its hands, it'll probably want to take advantage of that material. But Villeneuve has no interest in directing more Dune movies beyond the third one. If he adapts Dune Messiah faithfully, then it'll set up a bunch of Dune sequels that he doesn't want to make. And if that happens, in every single interview he gives after Dune 3, Villeneuve will be asked when he's going to make Dune 4. Dune 3's ending could repeat the Dark Knight Rises sequel tease mistake. Nolan has been asked endlessly about a fourth Batman movie because he left the door open for one. If Villeneuve concludes his Dune trilogy on an open-ended note with Dune Messiah, he'll be forever hounded with questions about whether he'll return to Arrakis to make Dune 4. This is the same problem that Nolan faced when he made the Dark Knight trilogy. Nolan had no intention of ever returning to Gotham and continuing his Batman saga after The Dark Knight Rises, but since The Dark Knight Rises ending left the door open for more stories, he's been plagued with questions about a fourth Batman movie for over a decade. The Dark Knight Rises ended with John Blake finding the Batcave and revealing that his real name is Robin, suggesting he would take up the Batmantle in Bruce Wayne's absence. It also teased that Bruce may have survived the explosion, insinuating that Christian Bale's Caped Crusader could return in a future movie. Nolan was done with Batman after The Dark Knight Rises, but since he left room for more movies, both he and Bale still get questions about doing another Batman film. Dune 3 could very well do the same, and it would put Villeneuve in the same unenviable boat. Denis Villeneuve needs to give the Dune trilogy a more definitive ending than Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Dune 3 needs to avoid making the same mistake as The Dark Knight Rises. Paul standing in front of an atomic bomb explosion in Dune Part 2. Villeneuve should give the Dune trilogy a more conclusive ending than Nolan's Batman trilogy to avoid facing the same endless line of questioning when he's done with it. It'd be better for everyone involved to just end the trilogy properly without worrying about the future. The ending of Dune Messiah leaves the story pretty open-ended and paves the way for Children of Dune, but if Dune 3 does tease that outcome, Villeneuve will never escape questions about making the movie. And if it never happens, it could hurt the perception of the trilogy as a complete work.